So today we are joined by Elena Galencia.
Yes.
I pronounced that correctly.
Almost.
Almost.
Yes. Elena Galenka.
Galenka. Sorry.
problem, it's
Elena Galenka. Well, thank you so much for being on Diaspora Fusion today.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, we get to learn a little bit about her experience in Nairobi and what are some of the things that she likes to hear in Nairobi. Well, and I got to understand that bravo is actually an Italian word.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bravo is definitely an Italian word.
Yeah.
And it's very used here in Nairobi.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much. Maybe we can have a seat and
you so
have a
much.
chat a bit.
My name is Elena, and I am the director of the Italian Cultural Institute, which is the cultural department of the Embassy of Italy to Kenya. So I was born and grew up in Turin, where I did all my studies. So I studied communication at university, and after that I moved to Tanzania, and I spent 10 years in Dar es Salaam. And for the most of the time I was working at the Italian Embassy. After that, I had the chance to move to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Rome, and I spent more or less 1 year and a half. And then when I got the chance to come back to East Africa, I chose to come. And so here I am again in East Africa, and I'm quite new in Nairobi. I came less than 1 year ago, and I'm now doing that work. I think that at the moment, it's very famous for the Juventus football team, especially after Cristiano Ronaldo came to play for some years over there. Apart from football, in Italy is famous also because it was the first capital of Italy. So before Rome and Florence, the capital was in Turin. So we still have a lot of different palaces and buildings related to that period. And in Italy, it's also very famous for Fiat, which is a firm that produces cars in Italy. So it's quite famous for that. But if I have to say nowadays, it's a very vibrant city also on the cultural point of view, especially music, art, cinema. So it's quite an interesting city, I can say.
Wow, interesting. So growing up, what are some of the fun stuff that you used to do in Turin?
Oh, wow, that's a nice question. So when I was a child, I changed a lot of different sports. So I went from volleyball to basketball to ski. And then when I was a teenager, I went into dance. I tried different type of dance. And and then also at school there were different opportunities that made me become interested in culture in general. And I can also say that in the past year is also becoming a multicultural city. So this is how I also become interested in interacting with people with different backgrounds.
Wow, interesting. And the good thing with that, with the arts, with the background of the arts, you get to experience culture as well.
Of course, I think that when we talk about putting people from different backgrounds together, sometimes it might become difficult, sometimes no, but sometimes yes. And arts can be a way to overcome these difficulties.
It's the power of art.
Of course. And I think we saw a week ago, we had a residency here, some artists, visual artists from Italy, 3 of them, they came to Nairobi, and they met a group of Kenyan artists from Kuona Art Center. And at the beginning we were a little bit afraid because these guys from Italy, they have never been to Sub-Saharan Africa before. And also the age was a little bit different, and we were a little bit afraid that maybe they cannot match together. But then, because of the work that they were doing together and the language of art, the thing went smooth. And of course it was another way to confirm this idea that I have, that the arts can help people to talk together.
Wow, great. And speaking of that cultural exchange, after Italy, you ulienda Tanzania.
Nimeenda Tanzania.
Tanzania kulikuwaje?
Oh, it's very cool. I really enjoyed the time there. Of course, it's many people here in Kenya, they tell me that Tanzania is more laid down and relaxed, and I think it's true. But there are some things that are very interesting. The way the people live and live together is quite interesting. And there are some young Tanzanians that they are very active in different fields. And then I'm finding this same thing in Nairobi, but much more bigger, because Nairobi is a huge city and it's a real multicultural city with people that they really like to do different things here. So I'm very happy to be here now in this very vibrant city. Now, my experience in Rome was quite, I want to say, original, because I was there during COVID. So I spent many months in lockdown, and then I enjoyed the empty Rome because there was very few tourists for a month. So it was really possible to see another face of Rome. It was quite interesting. And of course, after 10 years abroad, sometimes it's good to reconnect to your origin. So I had also the opportunity to be more connected with the Italian atmosphere, the Italian way of life. And I think it was good for me to go there before another adventure.
Wow, interesting. And yeah, there's always that saying that Rome was not built in a day.
Of course.
Was it really not built in a day?
I think so,
yeah.
Because of course Rome is very known for the ancient part of Rome, the ancient architecture. Sometimes it's crazy because you understand that you are on a bridge that is there since centuries, and they say, oh, how many people were walking on the same bridge I'm walking on. But of course there is also the modern part of Rome. There are buildings, there are artists working there. There is of course all the political activities of Italy is in Rome because it's our capital. And so of course there is this mix of ancient and modern that I think is common to many cities. But of course in Rome it is quite a unique atmosphere because when you arrive in Rome you really understand that I'm in Rome, in a city that is really well known from everybody. So when I arrived, because Italy was still very affected from COVID, I really didn't know what to expect. So when I arrived here, of course there was still a little bit of restriction, but not that much as in Italy. So I think that I took at least the first 6 months to try to understand a little bit more the city, to try to understand which people we can talk to in Nairobi and which people might be interesting not only to art, culture in general, but maybe also have an interest in Italy and in the exchange between Italy and Kenya, because this is what basically we are doing. And what I see is that sometimes people really know some very original things from Italy that sometimes maybe we just get them from granted, or maybe that we think that they are not important. So I remember one day I met a person who was talking to me about an Italian comic that I've never read in my life. I mean, I know that it's there, but it's not maybe the things that I like more. And he was talking to me about it, and they say, oh wow, people know things. Yeah. And another part of Nairobi that I like so much are universities. Kenyatta University, University of Nairobi, they have so many professors and youths that they are really passionate about what they are doing. And for me it was very good because after completing my study I completely left the university world behind. And I made like a full stop. I say, this is done now. And for years I didn't have the chance to really be in contact with the world of university or research back in Italy, or even in Tanzania where I was living before. And when I arrived here, I got the chance to meet people from, for example, University of Nairobi or Kenyatta University, or even outside with the University of Embu. And I found them so interesting in doing things, in people that they are very open-minded, that they are very passionate about what they do, and very competent in what they are doing. And I was thinking, oh wow, this might be good people to work with. Yeah.
Oh, great. And the food, how do you find the food? Be honest, like ugali and stuff. How do you?
Yeah,
find that?
ugali is nice. I mean, ugali depends from the sauce. So that's what I understand. If the sauce is good, the ugali is good. If the sauce is bad, the ugali is like
Yeah.
a little bit tasteless.
Yes,
No, I like ugali and I like nyama choma, but Kenya is famous for nyama choma, so I was expecting to find nice nyama choma and I found it. Yeah.
Any future stuff that as we wind up, any future stuff that you're looking forward to?
So, of course, from the institutional point of view, our work is to strengthen the relationship between our countries. From a personal and a practical point of view, I would really love to work with youths, but also with children. I think that we met the first time during a kids event, and it was quite interesting to interact with very, I want to say, intelligent mind. So I really love to work with youths and children and young adults in general, because as I said, one thing that is very good here in Nairobi is that we have young people that do things. They do things and they do interesting things. So this is a little bit my hope, and also what we are hoping to do as an office is also to exit a little bit of Nairobi and to see what is going on outside the big city in Kenya. So there is a well-established Italian community in the coast, especially Malindi Watamu. We had the chance to visit Nakuru and Embu, but we would like a little bit to see more what is going on. We heard, for example, about Kisumu that is growing so fast, and Eldoret, which is in a nice area. So, of course, we are maybe planning to look a little bit outside the box. The box for us is Nairobi. Yeah, this is a little bit the future plan.
Wow, it's amazing how much of culture you can experience from just conversation. And it's a wrap for today's show. Unfortunately, we'll do this next week, same time, same channel. I've been your host, Evie Minor. Until next time, it's goodbye. Save the Date is an exhibition that was recently at Movenpick. It's an explosion of emotions, color, and texture. We got to check out the closing night. Please come with us.
Hey.
Hi, how are you?
Good, you?
Good. What is your name?
My name is Costa Juan.
Great.
I am an artist.
What kind of artist?
This is a question I really struggle answering, but I've had it a couple of times. So I think I'm an artist who celebrates life. I paint spaces, I document landscapes of places that I've been to, people I've seen, and then occasionally I also tell stories with my art. So pretty much that's what I can say I am.
Great. So we are here at the closing night of Save the Date, the exhibition, and you exhibited some of your artwork. So please just tell us a little bit about it. How was the process like from maybe the beginning? I don't know if you have enough time, but maybe from the beginning, how you got into it.
Lord, so where should I start? I know Lisa. Lisa's my friend, the lady who runs the exhibition. So Lisa reached out, she shared with me the idea that she had in mind and the people she wanted to collaborate, me being one of them, and I constantly work because the way I paint, you have to work a lot for you to, to keep improving. And then it also makes more sense that you stay in touch with what you're doing, especially for a painter, so that you don't lose that slight bit of skill. So she shared her thought, and then I agreed. And then she came down to the studio, we picked what we wanted to work with, and then we brought them here. So I helped in putting up the show. And the past, is it 1 month already? So the past 1 month has been really good. I've met new people, we've had really good conversations, we've had very good interactions on a human level. And I can say it's a success so far. For me personally, it feels like a success because the stories that I wanted to relay to people, I had people who could feel them and vibe with them, and listen to my stories. So for that, I think it's a success.
Great. What stories were you wanting to tell people or to convey to people?
So the body of work that I've put here is it's 3 series. So one is landscapes. I love painting landscapes. I've painted landscapes now for about 6 years. And it's a space where, when I get there, I immerse myself there. It feels home, it's peaceful, it's also beautiful. So I have my landscapes painting here. There's some of Ngong Hills, there's some of Mau Summit, there's some of Kericho. So for those who haven't come yet, you missed out. And then I also have the stories that I want to tell, and I feel like I love portraiture, and I feel drawn to the eye because it sounds like a cliche thing that the eyes are the windows to the soul, but I really believe in that because looking into a person's eye, you can feel the struggles they've gone through. You can get a sense of their life before them telling you. You can feel in an umbrella feel if it's filled with pain or if it's filled with happiness by just looking to their eyes. So I enjoy painting portraits. So I have portraits here of people I know whose stories they've shared with me. Some of them my friends. Some are just people, associates in the business. And so me as an African, I'm telling African stories, ranging from my mom, my stories, in the way I feel they should be told, or the way I feel it's easy for me to express them.
Wow, I feel so inspired just by that. And speaking of inspiration, what inspires you?
Inspiration. I'm one of those artists who are in this long quest for the elusive beauty that the world has. So that takes you to different areas, and by different areas I mean it can be in abstracts, can be in landscapes, can be in collage, it can be in portraiture, it can be just figurative drawing and all put together. My inspiration is from life, people I have met, places I have been to, and the stories that have molded me into the person I am, and also your stories.
Wow, great. So it's the closing night. How's your evening going?
Wait, I didn't get that.
It's the closing night. So how is your evening like?
I've had food. Food is good. I've had meatballs. No, I'm kidding. The evening has been good. I've been here for about 2 hours now. 1.5 hour, 2 hour-ish. And the energy is good because people are coming in. They're coming in and asking questions. They want to know. They want to get into your mind and see why you're doing this and why you're not doing it differently. And those are the things that we live for. I feel as creatives, sometimes that circle doesn't complete itself if you don't get people to share the stories that you've been painting about. So it's coming out really well. The last 1.5 hours has been really good.
Great. And for those who are not here, those who missed out, what would you like to tell them?
They've missed out. They've really missed out. But once the exhibition is done, I don't really know the plans that Lisa has yet. She hasn't shared that. We have not shared what's going to happen. But I can invite them to the Lifestyle Gallery in Gigiri to go there and see part of this show. Some of the works will be there. The same way they can come to our studios. We are showing here 4 artists, 2 painters, me and Sebawali, and then 2 photographers, Anthony Russell and Richalela. And we all have separate studios, so they can visit our separate studios and get to interact with the art that they have missed here.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Costa, for being on Diaspora Fusion.
Asante sana.
My name is Paul Omache. I'm a hotelier by profession, and
a love of art?
Yes, a lover of art and an artist myself, but I only do it as a hobby, but not professionally like what you see here. Okay, so the evening is going well. So we've had refreshments on coming in. Then we've had a chance to look around and see what the art is all about. So there's 3 artists shown today. There's Costa, there's Anthony, and then there's Sio. So each has their own unique way of doing things. I have that one that does photography and incorporating 3D technology. So that's a unique way of looking at art. And then there's one that is doing a mixed medium, that is both photography and oil paint. Then one is doing watercolors. So it's a mix of abstract plus reality and fictional art. So there's a great misconception about art because in Kenya we've not gotten to appreciate them, because in most places art is actually an investment. You're actually investing in authenticity, because an art is about how the artist sees the world, how they get to appreciate and maintain, because most of it is about maintaining the culture or keeping an archive of your experience. So it's more or less sharing yourself to others and depicting what you see of what your experience is in the world. That's why most art is focused on nature, animals and people, especially people in their cultural setting or in a market or in a busy setting, or it depends. If it's architectural art, it's different as well. For culture, we have photos that are taken by phone or cameras. That is different. Authenticity is where someone has internalized the environment and put their heart in it. It's a feeling, it's a depiction, and it's also an investment, because art appreciates with time, because there is a lot of intellectual property, because this is authentic. It's not anything that anyone can do. So appreciate art, love art, and invest in art.
Awesome. Well said. Thank you so much,
You're welcome.
Paul, for being on Diaspora with us.
You're welcome.
What is your name?
Sebavali Mokai Sio is my name.
Nice.
Yeah.
We're here at Save the Data exhibition. Please tell us a bit about what you're doing.
So we're doing a group exhibition with 3 other artists. Anthony Russell, he's a photographer and a painter. Rich Alela, he's a photographer and a filmmaker. Costa Ojwang is a painter and a musician. And I am a painter and a sculptor. Yeah.
Wow, a sculptor.
Yeah.
That's quite
exciting.
That's quite interesting.
Yeah. So last year and the year before that, I participated with the curator Lisa in other shows. So she's the one who came up with the idea for a group show. And she had this space secured, and it's a lovely space. So she brought us to see the space, and we agreed, and then I guess then the show happened. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So your paintings have very different, interesting themes.
Yeah.
What are some of the themes that you have exhibited in this particular exhibition?
I would say most of these themes are a blend of very extreme emotions and calming, and another sense of calming, which is nature. So I think I've been trying to mix the two. Yeah.
Okay. And how was your experience like when you were doing that?
How was my experience?
The artistic process.
That's hard to say. The days vary. Most of them more recently have been really good, like very driven and moving forward. But before that, I think it was very like up and down. So you have very inspired days, you have days that you have zero inspiration, and yeah, it's unpredictable, I think, at least for me. Yeah, I have to constantly remind myself to work.
Whoa, you have to agree with me that today's show was a taste for the senses. Well, unfortunately, it's a wrap from us here. Join us next week, same time, same channel. My name is Evie Minor. See you next week.